The only country in the Walking Dead universe that survived the outbreak began. The only country that endured, or remained normal, or at least close to normal. But is this country still standing in the story today? What happened and what is this country? Well, it was mentioned in one of the episodes of a recent spin-off, and I'm going to bring it and explain it here. And if you wanna know, stay here and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel, my name is João Victor and I'm back to talk about the Walking Dead universe again. That I know everyone like it. I know you like these videos explaining some points in this universe, some web episodes videos, some videos talking about some points about the first season of the Walking Dead that connects with another spin-offs. But this point in this video, it's like a most recent one. Let's explain it, but first don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. And also, if you like more contents about the Walking Dead universe, don't forget to subscribe here. And there we go, here's the thing. The Walking Dead is a series with a list of 6 spin-offs so far. At the time I'm making this video, 2024, and it has a very vast universe. Basically, this story takes place in the same world we live in, on planet Earth, with the same countries we know in real life, but with this fictional factor of the zombie outbreak that happened. We have some explanations, some things on top, some connections that we can make, but not everything has been 100% explained to date. Not even the planet Earth of The Walking Dead itself has been so well explored to this day. The moment when they started to explore other countries is very recent. Before, there was only North America there. And the question is, have all the countries in the world really fallen? Or is there a country there that survived? Well, to get to that, let's start with the countries and regions of the world that we've already seen in The Walking Dead. We start first with the classic there, United States, which is where most of the overwhelming part of the Walking Dead universe that we've seen so far takes place, which is obviously a country that didn't resist of the beginning of the outbreak, and it has already fallen on its face. And we have a lot of examples from United States itself, basically all regions of this country. Starting, for example, with the West, we've seen at least 3 examples, if I'm not wrong. I can remember about Los Angeles, which was completely taken over by the zombies, then it was bombed, along with San Diego as well, which we see in Fear the Walking Dead. We also have this on the West Coast, in the north, the state of Oregon, which has the city of Portland, which we saw in World Beyond, and it is mentioned in The Ones Who Live, the show about Rick and Michonne, a city that resisted, but in general this region fell. There were more cities that resisted like Portland, but it's not mean the country resisted. We also have a lot of examples about the East Coast, which is where Georgia is, where Atlanta of its beginning. We also have Virginia, where we have Alexandria and Hilltop. There's Pennsylvania, which survived and stuff, but it's an isolated case too, from Rick's spin-off. There's New York from that city, there's Maine, which is shown in Daryl's spin-off. There's the south of the United States that we see in Fear the Walking Dead. There's Texas region, we also have the state of Louisiana. There's a center of the country with World Beyond and the state of Nebraska. So we have no doubt that the United States is a country that has fallen. And going to the next country that we saw in The Walking Dead, I had to talk about Mexico, which is a country that we got to know from Fear the Walking Dead, but we only got to know the north there, like the northern border region with the United States. Like Mexico couldn't stand it either. Then we move on to this new part of the Walking Dead universe, which will show more countries, which is Daryl's spin-off. Starting there already in 2023 with a focus on France. Yeah, we discovered through Daryl's spin-off that France is a country that also fell into this outbreak and did not resist. And so Daryl Dixon doesn't show just a part of France. During the first season itself, we see a journey of Daryl's, which goes from the south of France, from Marseille region, where he arrives, to the north of France, where we see Mont Saint-Michel, the base of the Union for Hope. So we see most of the France there, and nothing there also resisted. And then we go to another country that we saw in the second season, which is Greenland. We see that Carol, on this journey to trying to find Daryl, took this plane together with Ash. They ended up landing in Greenland, which is halfway there, to be able to refuel the plane, try to fix it, and there we only find 2 survivors. It's a bit of an inhospitable place to, being a great place to live, but in theory it fell to. And there we go, I presented all the countries so far that we have seen on The Walking Dead that didn't resist, that we know so far. And the question is, which country will be that one that resisted? Yeah, if we see the map, we have Spain from the 3rd season. The 3rd season of Daryl Dixon will take place in Spain, and we have the teaser where it's possible to see that Spain also fell at the beginning of everything. So it's not Spain, and let's talk about the right one. Let's talk about United Kingdom, where England is. I know that a lot of people will already see this revelation here and find it very strange because we have the teaser of the third season that also show us Darrow and Carol in the streets of London and London completely destroyed, proving that London was hate and it didn't resist as well. Like at least what we see this new character arriving who is a lost survivor in just like other places in the world. But the very interesting point is everything indicates that the United Kingdom has still survived. Whether it's years before that moment that Carol and Darrow will get there, or even it's still surviving, but it's not in London. Maybe London has fallen, some other parts of the United Kingdom still working normally. There are these two possibilities there, and why do I say that? As a first indication, I want to bring the last episode of the second season of Daryl Dixon. There in this episode 6, which has many exciting and interesting things, before we see the end of Darrow and Carol going alone in this tunnel, the Hero Tunnel, going to England. Before that, we have a battle against the enemies in France to solve this, get Laurent and Ash safely there on the plane, and there it begins the path to the tunnel. And it is on this path that they met two new survivors, who in theory will help them there, named Angus and Fiona, a couple exactly. And in them we have the key to the first clue about the United Kingdom. There are apparently some friends from Falou, this Darrow's great friend from Paris, and they point out here that they have been to the United Kingdom before being there in France. Like after the beginning of the apocalypse, after the beginning of the outbreak, they have already been there, they have already seen how it turned out. And then there it is, doing some conversations they have along the way, we have the couple's revelation that the United Kingdom would have resisted, that it would have managed to resist the outbreak, at least at first. They reveal that the British military blocked the island on the first day of the outbreak, declaring martial law to prevent the civilization from collapsing. So they just shut everything down and isolated, and according to them in this conversation, the UK would still be standing today. It would still be functioning today. At this current moment in the story, we are close to 13 years after the outbreak. We don't know exactly how long the couple was there. The last time the UK could be that they were there years ago, and after they left there, the country ended up falling, the government ended up falling, even resisting several years after the outbreak. But it was still going to be an interesting case, or it could also be, as I said early, that the place that we see in this teaser of the third season that Darrow and Carol are, which is the capital there, which is London, here didn't really survive the start of the outbreak, but the UK is still working without London. We can look, for example, here on the map. The tendency of Darrow and Carol to arrive in London faster after passing the tunnel there. They arrive in the first big capital, but there are other big cities in the UK. We have Birmingham, Cambridge, Manchester, and we go up. We already have in Scotland, Edinburgh. The UK could perfectly well be functioning in some other these cities above, and London has already fallen. But then this would be the first indication of the United Kingdom working, whether it fell later or whether it's still working today in other cities. But what would be the second clue we have seen in this show? The second clue is there in the first season, when Darrow arrives on the Union for Hope on Mont Saint-Michel, finally fulfills the mission to get Laurent there safely and is hoping to leave. So Lozang, who is the leader until then, who hadn't proven himself all crazy as he was in the second season, he promises Darrow a boat. He says that Darrow will have to make a few days of walking along the coast of France until he reaches a place in a certain fishing boat waiting for him to be able to give him a ride between France and England. And according to Lozang, when he arrived in England, he would find a port apparently working there, and he would find ships that make the road from England there across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States, from the way he reveals as if there was a port in England at this moment of the outbreak working. A ship going from one side to the other there, and Darrow was going to be able to take one of those ships. So as much as Lozang had some bad pretensions in the second season, he had a good side because he believed he did good for people after he really goes crazy, and at least in the first season it doesn't seem like he was lying, because it was good for him that Darrow left. Besides that, when Darrow arrives there on the coast, the boat was there waiting for him to take him to England. So one more indication that something in the United Kingdom is working working in this universe. Like the couple we see in the second season, revealing everything, they have been there in the United Kingdom even after the beginning of the outbreak. But it has been a while since they returned there, saying that it is working normally, that they resisted, that the military closed everything. And in addition, we have the information about the port that is still working there, that ships circulate there even at this time of the outbreak. But then you can ask, how did they survive? How it is that the UK probably survived the beginning of it all? It endured the first few years, whatever, but in theory it is the first country that endured it. And we also have an article here that I took as a basis from another website, which is CBR, that talked a lot about it. They bring here the question of how the British military achieved what so many other countries failed to do. The first explanation comes from the territory they were trying to protect. And really, we have the United Kingdom here as an island, a big island, a very big island. There are several cities here, but you don't have to worry about the other countries, because there is simply no border on land, except for a few different technological connections. For example, this connection here, which we saw Daryl and Carol making, the connection underwater, the Eurotunnel, which is a tunnel that exists in real life that connects France and England underwater. And it's precisely because of it that Daryl and Carol are passing through in the last episode of the second season. And there we have the explanation of this, including how the military operated. We see in the tunnel a military base there that was set up by the United Kingdom military, you know, with several bodies and such remains of what was there, but which proves that what Angus and Fiona revealed was true at that point. The military really closed everything. They even closed the tunnel. They set up a military base, a security barrier in the Eurotunnel there, so that no one crossed from France to England at the beginning of everything. This is a very good example that proves what they had said. And so, at some point, it started to go wrong, and we see that the military are dead. So something went wrong there, and the part further inside the country that survived at some point. And we have another point here, which is the article on the website I was talking about. The next factor to take into account is the response time. The British military is said to have blockaded the country almost immediately after the news of the outbreak arrived. This quick reaction time likely saved many lives as the military began to protect population center, prevent the virus, and everything in between. But that's where the issue they mentioned there. As much as it was a quick plan, as much as they really survived, they probably survived in the first few years of the outbreak. There was nothing they could do against the people inside, because as much as you are on an island in this world, the virus apparently get infected through the air. So even the people who are isolated on this place, if someone dies there, they kill everyone like zombies, which was probably one of the reasons that generated the fall there from London. Sometimes London even fell after Angus and Fiona passed by, because it seems that there's a time when they don't go there. But yeah, we have the first country in the Walking Dead universe that we know survived, at least in the beginning, but survived the outbreak, which is United Kingdom. And then there's this question, if they are working elsewhere in the UK to this day, or if they have simply fallen in these most recent years of the Walking Dead. And in this third season of Daryl Dixon, at least in the first episode that they go there, we may have some clue. If the showrunner and the script guys are smart, they will throw some Easter eggs there. There obviously will not be the focus, don't watch expecting this focus, because the passage through the United Kingdom seems to last only one episode, but it must be interesting that they put at least one Easter egg of what happened. Go write in the comments what you think about this revelation, if you had paid attention to this revelation in Daryl's spin-off. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything about this universe of The Walking Dead. Leave the like here, that helps me a lot with the promotion. I'll be back soon, thank you for watching, and bye!